Alright, so now that we have the cups on the conveyor belt and the conveyor belt reassembled, I have installed it in this kind of partial SMARTA here. So you can see we don't have the top flap installed, it's just kind of the inside of the SMARTA apparatus, but it's going to let us get the cups moving at the right speed to dump the food out. So I installed the conveyor belt and I put just a little piece of something in each cup. In this case I put a little nut that I had, like a nut that goes along with some of the screws that I'm using. And that's going to kind of just simulate a piece of food, because what we want to do is we want to dispense all 7 and see how quick or too slow the conveyor belt is moving, because we need to adjust the timing values in the Arduino program to get it dispensing properly. So I'm going to dispense 7 times, and then I'm going to rewind, and then you'll see how it goes, and then we're going to use that to adjust the values. One other thing I'd say that we did off camera is if you get your acrylic laser cut, the edges of it will be a little bit sharp. So one thing we did is just sand the sharp corners of the acrylic. So heads up, you might want to do that or you're going to get what seems like paper cuts as you're using it just because it's so sharp. Alright, so I have the tablet here. I didn't install it in the tablet window because it's just not important yet. We're just still getting things to work. And I've connected the phone to the tablet. And all I'm going to do is dispense. I'm going to force dispense from that 3 dots menu. And we should see things going here. Okay, so the first nut fell out. I can already see it's moving too fast though, because you see that this cup is way further down than the first one was. So if I force dispense again, I wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 nuts to fall out. Let's see. Yeah, see, so it's moving too fast. All right, I can already tell. Okay, since things were not dispensing perfectly on the first try, I have moved the SMARTA under construction into my room with the computer, and I just took the wire that was in the battery pack and plugged it into my computer, because that's how we program the Arduino. It's just like when you put the Arduino software on there in the first place. We're going to use this to adjust some of the timing values. So if you open that same Arduino program that you put on there in the beginning, you need to look for these 2 things that I'm highlighting here. Dispense duration and rewind duration. That's how many milliseconds the motor will stay on for each of those things. Depending on the particular motor, you know, just lots of different variables, and maybe the way the conveyor belt, the way that you built it, these are going to have to be adjusted just slightly to get things dispensing properly. I will upload this version here, which I tested with the Adafruit Motor Shield V2 and the way that I've shown things built in this video, so hopefully it's pretty close, but you might need to adjust either of these up or down a little bit. So I've already adjusted them. Let me show you what it looks like when it's working properly. So let's take a look again at the SMARTA conveyor belt. And what I'm going to do on the phone app, just to show you what's going on here, is I'm going to do training mode with any of the animals, it doesn't matter who. And that's just going to give me controls to dispense and rewind, and I'm going to use that to kind of simulate a training session. So let's look at the conveyor belt, and I'm going to dispense one by one. So first off, when you're using SMARTA, the first cup, just have it tilting slightly, just starting to tip off the edge like what we have here. And I've again put all of the little nuts in there to simulate food rewards. So I'm going to dispense 7. Here we go. So you can see each cup is turning and the food is falling out, in this case the metal nut. And you can see as I do this, each cup is lining up at the end, getting ready to go. And all of the food rewards have fallen out successfully. So now if I hit, just to show you the app again here, if I hit this rewind button, which is just to the left of dispense, that's going to rewind all 7 cups. And if we have the timing for the rewind, or it's called rewind duration, if we have that set properly, we're going to get right back to where that first cup is just leaning off the edge. So let's do that. And it automatically goes back however many dispenses we did. And you can see that first cup is just starting to tip over the edge. That tells me I got the timing right. If you remember in the Arduino program, the dispense I have at 600 milliseconds, and the rewind I have at 650 milliseconds, so they might be a little bit different. Like your motor might rewind slightly more slowly or faster, so just tweak the values until it behaves just like what I just demonstrated here.